You've heard me say it time and time again on this channel. Taking the time to make a bike your own is one of the greatest joys of owning a motorcycle. Could just be playing around with the aesthetics, playing around with some of the small design features to make the bike look like your own. As you start to play around more and more with the bike, you start to develop a relationship with the bike, understanding its ins and outs, creating a bike purely reflective of your riding style and your personality. One of the most fun aspects of customizing your bike, of course, is playing around with the performance. And it doesn't matter whether you're on a sport bike or on a big touring machine. We all love a good performing motorcycle. Whether it's throwing on an exhaust just to capture that true rumbling sound, whether we take it a step further and start to increase the torque and horsepower in search for an even more thrilling ride. Now, it's not to say that these bikes need it, it's just to say that we're still all children at heart and we want it. The Milwaukee 8 is an incredible engine from the factory. It has so much torque and so much power. But let's be honest, due to the emission standards held by countries all over the world, more and more these engines have to be restricted from the factory. Now, we all know that the first thing we can do is, of course, allow this bike to breathe with an air filter, exhaust and tune. But another point where the emissions really clamp down on the power of this bike is in the cam. And that's the stage 2, and that's exactly what I've done recently with my Harley Davidson Sport Glide. Instead of going with the Screaming Eagle line, I've opted for an aftermarket cam, a hugely popular cam for this engine, and you've probably all heard of it. It's the Redshift 468 cam from Zippers Performance. So on this video, I want to introduce you to this cam on my motorcycle through a quick sound check, just to show you how much this cam opens up the engine. And you can tell just from the sound. I'm also going to go some of the initial impressions in terms of performance, but make sure you subscribe because in later videos, I'm going to be working with a local dyno tuning mechanic, and we're going to be tuning this bike to maximize the efficiency and the performance out of this motorcycle now that it has its performance cam installed. So let's start up the bike and let's get into it. As you heard from that sound clip, the bike sound has completely opened up. It's got a real thunderous roar to it now, and at idle, it really has that beautiful lope kicking in. So straight away, you can tell that this cam is really unlocking this engine. Now, when it comes to the actual performance, what I noticed straight away was just when that power was really starting to kick in. Usually it was kicking in around the 2.7, 3,000 RPM mark, but now it's dropped real low. About 2,200 RPMs is when this bike is already kicking in with lots of power. So I can be cruising around in any gear, and as soon as I pull on that throttle, it really starts to pick up and run. Now, if you saw one of my recent videos, you know I wanted to take this bike to be dyno tuned. And I found a really great local mechanic, Bran at ThunderTech in Mundaring here in Perth, Australia. And we had a really great chat, and he really gave me a bit more understanding about how these engines work, how he goes about tuning the bike to get the most efficiency and performance out of them. So on a first evaluation run, which I didn't get any footage of, the bike was putting out an okay set of numbers, about 97 horsepower, and about just over 105 foot-pounds of torque. So this is a little bit lower than what I would expect from this performance cam. I'm expecting about 10% more across those numbers, across the RPM range. But the reason that it's not performing at that level right now was due to some of the results that we found on that dyno tune. What we found was, as the throttle was opening up more and more, it began to run richer and richer. What it means is this bike just simply isn't using that fuel efficiently enough to produce both power and also actually run efficiently in terms of fuel consumptions. I'm actually using more fuel right now at cruising speeds and cruising RPMs, and I'm not hitting the performance numbers that I could be when I start to open up that throttle more. So in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be going back to ThunderTech for a full tune and hopefully really fine-tuning this motorcycle and this performance setup to get the most out of the bike. So if you are interested in seeing how this bike performs after that tune and seeing the stages of this development, make sure you hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out. Let me know below what kind of performance parts you've got on your motorcycle. What is your cam of choice if you've gone to the stage 2? And if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, hopefully for some more power. But until then, make sure to ride safe, drink damn fine coffee, and I'll catch you next time. All right.